Certain conditions must be met for total peace. First, all weapons must be eliminated. And second, the desire to fight must be erased from people's minds. Libra plunging to Earth. It's the only way to achieve total pacifism.
What's going on, guys? It's RPG Zeke here, coming at you with another video of Sleeve This. This is where I go through a deck list profile that I've been driving for a bit and having a lot of success with. I wanted to go ahead and share this with you in video format for the episode of Sleeve This. This is focusing on Oz. It is a blue-white deck list. And the way this is going to work, the deck list is going to be on screen the entire time, along with the ratio. So if all you're here for is to find a deck, sleeve it up, and give it a try, by all means, go ahead and do so. It's the whole point of the episode. But also, what we're going to do as we go through it is I'm going to explain things, what the unit is doing for you, combos and things to look out for, and how to pilot this deck successfully. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and start with the units, get into the base, pilots, and then eventually end with the commands. This one, I'll be honest with you, is very finicky on the ratios. You're going to notice a lot of 2s and 3s and whatnot. However, that has been the most successful I've had with, the most success that I've had with this deck list is running it at a very weird variance. But it pays off and it's been doing really well for me. So let's go ahead and go over it. First unit we've got, might surprise a lot of people, is Taurus. Taurus is a level 2 cost. It is just something to beat up your opponent with. Literally, all this thing can do is punch into units. It even says right there on the card that this unit can't choose the enemy player as its attack target. So you are not swinging into shields and you're not swinging into bases. But with a 3/3 stat line, you are able to take out a lot of the smaller units pretty early. Yes, they're going to swing at your shields. That is completely okay because hopefully by the mid game you have them wrapped up with a bow and then you're just dominating it towards the end game anyway. So the other thing, the reason we picked Taurus, outside of it just being a good stat line for an early cost, is it has the Oz trait. You're going to notice there's some cards in our deck that actually really care about Oz. And so we want to make sure that we're always presenting Oz to the board so we can get those additional procs, additional effects to kind of go off. So that is Taurus. Again, Taurus, weird ratio. It's only at 2 copies, but it works out. If you see him early, it's great. If you don't, it's fine to get other things that'll help you kind of reel in your opponent. Next up is a level 3 2 cost is Zex Leo. Big thing for this guy is what he's able to do as a unit. When paired, choose one enemy unit with 3 or less HP and rest it. Especially with, right now, the current format having a lot of blockers and people really wanting to play low and slow into the ground, or potentially not even swing at you until they are ready to do so. Zex Leo with any pilot is able to get that effect. What we're looking for here, the stat line you'll notice is a little bit different from Taurus. It's got the 3 attack still, but only 2 HP, so this guy will kind of go down faster. But again, we're trying to put a pilot on him, and he does care about the Oz trait for his link. We do have 2 different Oz pilots in this deck, which are really good for Zex Leo to actually have. Also, the other pilot, which, surprise, surprise, it's going to be the blue pilot Amuro, will get you 2 ways of resting a board state that decides to go wide on you. So that is just something to consider, is not only is this good for the Oz trait pilots, he will also accept Amuro. And again, once we get to Amuro, we'll kind of talk about in length and review that combo again. Next up, we have what I like to call the speed bumps. We've got our early blockers here with the introduction of GDO2. We got an additional second blocker that comes in low to the ground. So we've got the ever so faithful Gundam Lifrith, a 2 attack 4 HP unit. We're running 4 copies of this bad boy. And again, it's just a blocker. You're just wanting to slow down the opponent best you can or take those early trades from aggro units to eventually get into your very dominant mid to end game. And then the next up, the other blocker that is new, we'll spend a little bit more time on this guy. It is also a level 3/2 cost, just like Lifrith. Its stat line, though, is a little bit nicer in my opinion for one reason, the increase on the attack. A lot of people to this day, especially blue-purple, are still playing a card named Rezel or Hyakurin, and both those cards are 4 attack, 3 HP. If you obviously trade that with Lifrith, there was always this weird scenario where those really big stat line units that are very small on the cost pool would still be alive with 1 HP, and then you still have to invest something to kill it. With Rick Diaz, that's no longer something you have to worry about, so you can play your Rick Diaz and then just wait for Rezel or Hyakurin to swing, because that's usually what they're going to do anyways, and you can now at least remove the body from the board at the cost of your own. So I've been having a lot of fun with just that stat line in particular for that trade. Anything that has the high attack but low HP stat line is usually what I'm going to block with Rick Diaz. All right, so our 2 blockers running at the 4-4 copy spread. We now get into some cards you might not have expected anybody to actually run, but man, is it fun. Okay, so Noin's Ares, hear me out. It's actually a very good card. The reason it's good is probably the same reason a lot of people think I'm crazy for liking bird mode. It's a level 3 cost, totally makes sense. But what this thing's looking to do is when it's destroyed, as long as you have another Oz unit in play, you draw 1. That pays itself back so much for the 3 cost. Right now we're in a format where it's very easy to attack your hand size. What I mean by that is you will play your entire hand trying to punch the opponent and hope that momentum just gets you the game. As soon as you're reeled in, you're looking at a point of not having a hand size anymore, and now your opponent just kind of hits your shields every once in a while, gives you 1 card, maybe none, depending on what they decide to take, and then they usually don't swing until they establish a wide enough board to eventually win the game and just shut you down. With this unit dying, whether you're taking the trade or it's sideways and they hit you, as long as they don't, as long as you have another Oz unit in play, getting that reward of drawing 1 is really good. This card is also really, really good against green-white. As we know, 0 is a very powerful card that does 3 damage to the board. This card, absolutely, you want to play it out on the late game if you're up against green-white, 0 in that example, because if it does die or if you have multiple of these out, you're able to get that much more draw and immediately get back into the fight when it comes to those top-end plays. But even this card in the middle range, or once we get to mid-range stuff, I will use this card, put Noins on it, which is the other Oz pilot we run, and I will swing it into something and sometimes purposely just let it die so I can get the draw. Or, you know, I'll put it on the board, it doesn't get bullied off the board, and then as long as we have another Oz unit in play, we're able to just get that draw for taking a trade. But the cool thing about Noin's Ares is the stat line. A lot of people sleep on it, but this whole 2 attack, 3 HP, bird mode, keep in mind, is a 2/2 stat line from the green-white deck. But for this one, you're able to take a better trade into like Zaku 2s or any kind of early low game hanging unit that has only the 2 HP. And a lot of times the opponent is going to not really care about killing this all that much because they want to kill the other thing first if they can so that you don't get the draw. But sometimes they're left with no options. And because this might be the only card that is sideways after taking a trade, they'll still kill this card. You have another Oz unit in play. Now you get to draw. And I know that seems so silly, but you're drawing on your opponent's turn sometimes. And that really sets them back because you're setting up the board state in such a way where they now have to make a conscious decision in the order in which they kill things. And not a lot of people are playing like that. And just that decision alone really makes them go, the reason I lost is because you got to draw on my turn. Yes and no. Obviously, this unit's not winning a game all by itself, but the fact that it's available in our tool of arsenal for drawing during combat is really, really strong. I feel like a lot of players still aren't thinking about how do I keep my hand size full or how do I take advantageous trades without losing my hand size or having to put too much gas, too much cards on the board, and then never being able to recoup them. Noin's Ares answers that really well. And again, because we do run the pilot, Lucrezia Noin, we are able to get this thing to potentially swing in the later, the mid-late game to late game and actually get a shield check when they don't really expect this card to ever come down or be something that you're actually using. And Noins is a good command pilot because she does have other utility besides just linking up with the Noin's Ares. Again, kind of like what we talked about a moment ago, we're going to care a lot about Oz trait-specific pilots because we do have there's a lot of mobile suits that can come online immediately and just start actually pressuring your opponent. So that's enough about me glazing Noin's Ares. I want to move into the other unit that a lot of people still aren't on that I've actually been liking a lot more. Is going to be Gundam from GDO1 and not the starter deck one. The starter deck one in this current deck build has not felt great. The starter deck one, the big difference here is that you get Repair 2 on the body, and then you also get AP +1 to all your units as long as there's a pilot on it. The boost doesn't really matter in this deck list. Your mid game to late game is so strong with the bigger stat line bodies that you have in here that usually if you're in that spot, you don't care about the extra one. Like, it really doesn't come up. But the thing that is really good about the GDO1 Gundam is that all your white base units are going to get repair 1. So if you do happen to have, the only white base units we use in here are actually just this Gundam in particular. So if you have two of these guys out in the late game, they will stack the repair on top of each other. So then you could get these guys up to repair 2. And if you start beating up just the smaller units, you can repair that on the pass turn, which is really nice. But the main thing besides the repair 1 is, you guessed it, when paired, if you have 2 or more other units in play, draw 1. You can put any pilot under this guy. Doesn't have to be Amuro. Amuro is just for the link, but you will get the draw. Again, the whole point of this deck is being able to respond to your opponent and get a draw off that interaction. If you want to put Amuro here and send this guy straight into a unit, you can, but at least you recouped 1 card in hand for the draw, as long as you played wide. And with this deck, getting 2 or more other units in play is not difficult. You're usually going to have a blocker or 2 that's available. Your base is going to spawn tokens, which are going to make your board a lot wider. A lot of your units here are just costing 2 or 3. So really, you're never playing into super big units unless you really need to pressure the opponent or do something a little weird. But this helps, again, maintain that hand size, which is why this deck is feeling very strong with being able to draw in the middle of interacting or pursuing an advantageous board state for yourself. So I've really been liking this. So we're running Gundam at 3 copies. Again, the cards that are battling, that are just existing or dying, that are allowing us to draw is really good, all things considered. So the 3 copies of Noin's Ares and the 3 copies of Gundam do pay off really, really well. Just, again, being able to see more cards in your deck makes you a very difficult player to essentially see if you have an answer or know if you are a threat, because I'll tell you right now, if I have 1 card in hand and you have 4, I'm going to be sweating bullets probably compared to you on the other side that's actually in a position of power. Next up, we've got the new Tallgeese that I didn't think I was going to like, but this guy, let me tell you, this guy's actually really good. So you'll notice in our cost, as we start to kind of ramp up here, Noin's is on the level 3 cost. Our Gundam is level 4 3 cost. And then kind of wrapping up the same kind of curve as another level 4 3 cost. We can get choked here if we just don't have a good hand. And again, that's why drawing during Noin's dying, or even the Gundam just existing and putting any pilot under it, just being able to draw and see another card is really good, because you never want to choke your hand with just being at level 3 and then having all these 3 cost units and only presenting 1 to board at a time. That doesn't feel great, so that is something to watch out for. That can happen, but with the units themselves, you also have your commands that are going to help you filter and fix your hand really aggressively. So definitely keep that in mind. If you see a hand that is nothing but 3 costs, I will tell you right now, just mulligan that bad boy. Don't keep it. You're going to get yourself killed. You definitely want to have your lower end, your Taurus, your Zex Leo, or even your blockers, at least 1 blocker to kind of take some damage off your shield area. But everything else, if you see just the level 3 costs, go ahead and just mulligan. Don't keep that hand, not worth it. Even if all you had was Amuros in your hand, you're like, yeah, I'm going to keep this, and because it has 1 Gundam, don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. All right, so anyways, back to Tallgeese real quick. So with Tallgeese, this guy has during Link, attack, choose 1 enemy unit with 2 or less HP and rest it. Oz trait. Again, Oz trait is very powerful in this deck. We finally have good synergy with Oz, so it makes a lot of sense with the 2 pilots that we are running, and I'll explain that once again. But this guy, another very good stick to just beat the opponent with. 3 attack, 4 HP. He can trade into a lot of things, and then obviously get those advantageous trades and then still be alive on the board. The during Link, laying something down so one of your other units could get at it that might have been played sooner. Again, with this deck, as long as you're paying attention to what your opponent's doing, you should be in a good spot with obviously getting all these draws and these abilities to proc, but also in a state where you have usually at least 1 other unit before this Tallgeese is presented to board. We really don't want to play just that Tallgeese. That Tallgeese alone is going to get you killed. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. You want to have other units to the side of him, whether it's one of the blockers or something else, because if he does attack the shield area and he lays down a unit, you want to make sure you're able to capitalize and kill that unit. But this guy's really good. I liked him at 2 copies because there are times where we want to see him early or earlier, and then there are times where we want to see this other Tallgeese much later in the game where we can actually use it to its fullest. The other Tallgeese is from the starter deck. This guy has level 5, 4 cost. He's got a 4/4 stat line. He does care what he's linked with. He's specifically looking for Zex Marquise. And then he does have a really cool ability where without a pilot, without anything, if you have 4 more resources, you can set him as active. And then he can also swing again. So it's good for a defensive tool, not letting him be belly up so the opponent kills him. But it's also good for getting 2 swings out at once. This guy has helped me get my hand size back single-handedly because of what the pilot's able to do when you get the link up with this Tallgeese. And the reason I have this, fancy art one is because it's the only 2 copies I have of Tallgeese is the fancy art one. So, it is what it is. My starter deck luck on the pulls was crazy. All right, so that's our Tallgeese line. And again, we go from the level 4/3 cost into the level 5/4 cost, and to kind of round out the top end here. And really quick, before I, kind of keep forgetting things because I'm jumping around a lot. The Tallgeese is an Oz trait. This other Tallgeese is also an Oz trait. Again, the trait is really good for the Noins effect, because as long as you have one other Oz unit in play, you draw 1. That is on your turn it dies. That is on the opponent's turn if it dies. As long as it dies, you get the draw, as long as that Oz unit is also there when it happens. So really good, advantageous. You get draw just for putting your thing on the board. Not bad. The last thing that's going to wrap us out is 4 copies of Gundam Epion. If you saw from the video intro, I made it work. This is a very, very strong card in the current format. If you're able to get into Gundam Epion, it's beautiful. You're able to, with Zex paired, stand back up and swing again, and it becomes a disgusting stat line of 8 attack and 7 HP. So you're able to get some really crazy trades on that one, or still kill something, be alive, and then do it again and swing once more. Really liking this card. I like when it's presented to board, your opponent goes, oh snap, because usually it costs all your resources. It's a level 8, 7 cost, and when it comes down, typically you're doing it with the pilot being under it as well, because again, you only get this additional effect if it's linked. If you don't have the link, you don't get to restand and attack again. And it's not limited like a lot of these other cards that get to restand where it tells you can attack the opponent. Gundam Epion and the level 5 Tallgeese do not care. You can attack a unit, you can attack the shield area. They'll just let you eat all the time, which is really, really good. And then that's going to be it for the pilot, for the units. So as you can see, we got a pretty good line here. Unfortunately, we don't have any 1/1s. I know a lot of people swear by just dropping their hand with 1/1s. But I've had very good success with this. Usually when you invest and put a card down to the board, it's surviving for a few turns and really slowing down your opponent is very good, and I would not have it any other way. Next up, we only have 4 copies of the 1 base, and you guessed it, because it's an Oz deck, we are sticking with Corsica base. Corsica base, when you play it for the 3 cost, it adds 1 shield to your hand. Then you may deploy a Tallgeese, which is a 4 attack, 2 HP token. Or if you have another Corsica base in the trash already, you will get 2 1/1 Leos instead. Sometimes after that initial Tallgeese comes out, if you were able to hit a shield for a good amount of damage, or hit a base, I should say, going wide the next time you play Corsica base is usually the more advantageous play for you. What do I mean by that? If you play Corsica base the first time, your Tallgeese did its work, now you're into another Corsica at a later point in time. If you have the Noins Ares, you're fulfilling the thing, because again, those tokens are also Oz trait. So now you're able to get the draw in case Noins Ares does die with your token still being upright. And then also the Gundam now will start being fulfilled the second time you play the Corsica base. So you can Corsica base, put the Gundam down, put a pilot underneath, get another draw. So not only did you get the draw from the shield interaction, taking a shield to hand, but you're now able to see more of your deck and present more units to board and do some stuff with it depending on what you linked up with. So that combo with the Noins Ares and the Gundam and getting the draw on that interaction has bailed me out so many times. Again, we're in a situation where you're trying to play your hand the best of your ability to either slow down the opponent or to either take effective trades. And if you just run out of fodder in your hand and you don't have anything else, at least now you can recoup it thanks to having that during the combat interaction. So really, really good. Love this. Corsica base really works well with the Oz trade stuff that we're blasting with this deck. Next up is going to be the pilots. We only have, again, 2 actual pilots, and then we have a pilot command. So let's talk about these guys first. We're running both these guys at 4. 2 reasons in particular for this guy. this guy's also a really good attack tool. What I mean by that is Amuro, when he's put under anything, you choose one enemy unit with 5 or less HP and you rest it. You cannot attack units that are upright unless something else is allowing you to do that. So Amuro will make something go belly up, and then you can swing at it, take the trade effectively. And again, if you put Amuro, like I was talking about combo related stuff before, on Zex Leo, not only will you get the win paired effect and lay down a 5 or less HP, you will also lay down a unit with 3 or less HP and rest it. And yes, with the Zex Leo and the Amuro stuff going together, you're not able to attack that same turn it's played. But if you play the Zex Leo, wait a turn, and then do it on the following turn, absolutely you can start smacking stuff and it won't really matter. And that does become a pretty big unit for the low cost. It becomes a 5/3. The 5 attack is really what matters as opposed to anything else. You'll try to hold Amuros until you're really feeling pressure, to be completely honest. I didn't throw him under everything. I did it when my board was established and I was ready to take things away from my opponent, and they don't expect the double paired thing. Because as far as they can tell, you're mainly playing Oz and a couple of blockers. They don't know that you have this Gundam that lets you draw 1. Usually you're playing it later. You're not playing it early. You're not trying to let them see it until you actually need the draw. Keep that in mind. If this unit comes down and you don't put a pilot under it, you lost the potential to draw just by putting anything under there and actually making it work for you. So don't always think that you have to present something to the board. Be a little reserved with your hand. Wait until things actually make sense. Play the small blockers first. Try to have them chump block as much as possible, but save your units that are actually doing something for you until you're ready to capitalize on them. I know it's really hard in a meta where everybody wants to rush and everybody wants to play their whole hand size. But if you just play the tempo game a little bit, you will actually end up with a way bigger hand size than your opponent most of the time. So that is Amuro at the, of course, 4 copies. Then we've got this bad boy. So Zex Marquise, during your turn, when this unit destroys an enemy unit with battle damage, draw 1. This is so good. This is so good. Now that he has more units that he can actually link with, this card is so good. I don't care if it's a level 5. With all the chump blockers and the equivalent exchange and all the trading we're doing, getting to level 5 is like not an issue on this deck whatsoever. So we're able, as long as we see 1, we got to make it work. So we're going to put him on any of the Tallgeeses because they'll all accept him. And then his Zex Leo. If you have to do it for 1 draw and take the trade, just do it. There's a good chance that you might see 1 later, or your opponent gives you 1 when they hit your shield area. It happens. You just kind of have to play to the ratios and know that you're playing 4 copies, so the chances of that are pretty high. Also, with how often you're drawing, usually by the time I even got to my level 5 turn, I was able to just see a second one through playing and doing the Noin's Ares Death or the Gundam, putting a pilot under it, where I was like, cool, I can use 1 Zex and not really care about it. And yeah, I can put it on a Zex Leo. Or cool, I can put it on the lower end Tallgeese and get like 1 trade before it dies. That's still good. You're taking a body away and you're still getting a card back in your hand. So it's not like a bad idea. I just wouldn't do it all the time. Like, really, you want to throw this guy when you see him and if you can hold out on the bigger Tallgeese because of the restand and being able to get 2 swings, and your Epion. Your Epion will let you eat so well by taking really good trades into blockers, by being able to swing at the shield area. You fight something else with another unit, it's going to stand back up. Because again, when one of your units destroys an enemy unit with battle damage, set this unit as active, it doesn't have to be Epion that gets the kill. As long as Epion is down and sideways, when the first kill happens, it will then stand back up as long as Zex is underneath it. So we do want to make sure we try to hold a Zex if we can, so Epion can actually reestablish our hand size. Because yeah, drawing twice from killing 2 things is so good. It's so good. It's so busted. I love it. All right. Enough about me gooning over the Oz and the Tallgeese stuff and the Zex. It's so good, though. All right, next up is a card I wanted to make work since GDO1, but I was like, it's not there yet. I kind of have to put this on the back burner. And that's kind of where this shell started from, where I was like, man, we have some draw potential, but we're just not there yet. We just needed a couple more cards, and like we're here. And the couple more cards were literally Tallgeese, the early game Taurus, and then the Epion. And I was like, all right, Oz is a thing. Oz is a threat. It can absolutely establish itself. So with Noin's here, once I find my mouse, it's Deep Devotion. So it is a command pilot, meaning you can do one or the other. To be completely honest, with all the games I have on this deck, I have done the command of this once, which is you choose one friendly link unit, it recovers 3 HP. You're mainly going to do it on Tallgeese level 5 or Epion, so you can get just a few more trades in, potentially, if the opponent can't kill it while it's sideways. But really, putting this under Noin's Ares, putting this under the Zex Leo, which again, she's an Oz trait pilot. So she can make a lot of this stuff just come online. Zex Leo, the new Tallgeese will also accept her, which is great because a 4/4 stat line for just using this low-end cost pilot that you really aren't going to use the command for anyways is a really good way to just swing into shield sometimes. Where they're like, okay, cool, Tallgeese, Deep Devotion. They're like, what is that? Lucrezia Noin. When did that card come out? Everybody forgot about this card. It's such a good card that's under the radar. I love using it for that reason. But yeah, so you can put it on the new Tallgeese, and then that allows her to link up with a lot of stuff. So she's got, how many bodies here? She's got 1, 2, 3 that she can snag at any time and then just go face to shields or take a really good trade. And that's not bad, because like if you have to get rid of a card in your hand that's just like holding you down, you don't really find much weight to it, the +1 attack can make a difference sometimes. So like tucking that under really anything. Even, you guessed it, like I was saying before, the Gundam will take any pilot if there's 2 or other units and allow you to get the draw 1. I've done it a whole bunch. Like sometimes I don't want this card in hand and I want to see what the deck offers on the next card. Just let it go. Pay the 3, put the 1, and then just see if you get a draw if your board's wide enough. That's really, really good. And then next up, we got the cards that help us filter. We're going to talk about those first and then miss the middle one here. But we've got 3 copies of Overflowing Affection, very generic, draw 2, ditch 1. As we rotate, things we're looking to ditch is depending on game state. If we are in the early game, anything that's too heavy, let it go. Like, let your Epion hit the trash if it's the only one in your hand. You have other options for Zex. You can put him on Tallgeeses and still get a draw. There will be other times you will probably see the other Epion with how fast you can kind of go through your deck on this. So that's not like a bad idea. Also, if you're in a really good state and you think you need more Leos than you need the Tallgeese, if you put Corsica base in trash with Overflowing Affection because you're doing really good, or because you don't feel like you're going to need the base for whatever the time is that it's in your hand, if it's super early, whatever, let it go. And then the next time you use Corsica base, you won't get the Tallgeese, you'll get the 2 Leos instead. The fact that you are in control of what token comes out and when it is presented to you is really strong. And people, I feel like, overlook that, where they feel like if they don't use Corsica base when it comes up, you're not, like, decide. You have a cool combo here. Overflowing Affection, ditch 1 Corsica base, play a Corsica base later, get 2 tokens instead. That's you. You control that. You decide when that's going to happen, or if you want to hold a Corsica base until you see another one, whatever. It's just really cool, and I like that interaction, and I don't see people do that enough in blue-white decks, so definitely something to consider. And then the last one's just a net draw 2, Show of Resolve. The reason we're running this in a weird split, Overflowing Affection allows us to fix our hand size early, and then Show of Resolve, if we couldn't draw during combat, which isn't really common with this deck, you're able to just do the hard cast and then get two cards back to hand. And if your opponent's slowed down, take a breather, cast this, and essentially, or should be pay for this, and then get the 2 draw as well. Sorry, my Magic the Gathering stuff's coming out. And you're able to just refill your hand. Match the tempo of your opponent and don't push or overextend if you're not in a position to do so. I will tell you this right now, when I played through a lot of my games, I'm sitting at like 7 cards in hand or 5 cards in hand, and my opponent has 2 or 1 if they played something. Because like I'm just not letting them play the game. And if I do, I'm usually trying to be so aggressive with my hand size where I'm just like, okay, man, like now I'm just going to hit your shields one at a time, and you're not going to have a whole lot of fun with what's about to happen next. It happens. It's just the best way of winning the game is to make sure that you don't overextend and lose it. And I found that to be a really good ratio for the draw cards. So fix your hand early, net some cards later in the game. Pressure, pressure, pressure. Last but not least, is definitely a card we like seeing when it's in the shield area or even when it's in our hand. This deck, if we look at just the ratios really quick, if I come up here, it says we have 26 units, which is true, but keep in mind, Corsica base makes tokens. We're not exactly at 28 units. Striker pack makes a token blocker. So like we can get either a 2 attack, 4 HP, just like Lifrith, and be that same stat line, but it would be a token instead. Or we could also make a bigger attack, which is the 4 attack, 2 HP, just like the Tallgeese our Corsica base makes. Or if it comes out of the shield area, we get a very good stat line of a 3/3 blocker, which again, just like Rick Diaz. It's all these metrics and numbers that you're already comfortable playing around. So Striker Pack being at 4 copies is just really good. When it comes out of the shield area, you feel like it's literally a higher being saying, hey, it's time for you to win the game, stop playing with your opponent, and you just use that token to the best of its ability. But yeah, so that is our ratios and things we're looking for. Again, blockers, if we just size them up, it is 4, 8, 12 with the Striker Pack. And then our way of getting aggressive is with our Amuro. Our way of netting draws constantly is with Zex. Show. Filtering is with Overflowing Affection. We've got crazy good trade and exchange with these 2 units being Noin's Ares and the Gundam. But again, I've been sitting on this video for a while, and I had to keep going over the deck list, and I was like, okay, this is like a lot better than I thought. If you play it on Mobile Suit Arena, let me know how it goes. Usually, if you do play on that, which again is a web browser-based simulator, it's a lot of fun. If you need more practice, I highly recommend Mobile Suit Arena. But this deck, if you don't mulligan into like a super heavy hand, aka all 4 Epions, you can usually fix your hand size. And I will tell you this, if you're able to fix your hand or establish a better hand in a simulator environment, which usually AI draw or artificial draw usually isn't all that good, you're usually going to perform really well in person, typically, because your ratios on chances of drawing is actually very different compared to computer-based shuffling. But whatever, that's just me being a nerd. I hope you guys like this episode of Sleeve This. Again, I worked on this one for quite a while, and I've had so many games with this deck, and it does really well in the current format. I think it'll do really well too once we get even more Oz other units that are established that allow us to maybe draw during combat. I am super loving Zex Marquise, and if I had to guess, in a future box set, just like Ketra Bagina, which is also considered Char in name, we're probably going to get Miliardo Peacecraft, which is Zex without the mask, essentially, once that happens later in the series. Spoilers, it's from the 90s. You should have watched it by now. It's probably going to be treated as Zex Marquise by name. And when that happens, I really want to try both pilots in the deck and see what happens, or what color that's going to be. Because obviously it won't be a blue pilot. It'll be something else entirely different. Maybe green. Who knows? I'm excited. But yeah, so that's it. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video of Sleeve This for the Blue-White Oz deck. I hope you guys have fun with it. Please comment, like, comment, subscribe, all that other fun YouTube jargon stuff down at the bottom. I will catch you guys in the next one.
Peace. A strong heart that can empathize with people. Like yours. You're too pure and too kind. But I guess that's what gives you the right to live. Just watch me. I'm gonna live right to the bitter end.